नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्रभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः. Appearance of Lord Jagannath. Jagannath means Jagat Nath, Lord of the universe, Bhagavan. It's God. Actually, Jagannath is a form of Krishna. Krishna has many forms, as mentioned in Brahma Samhita, Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, Anantarupam. Many forms. In the different forms, there are different moods, leelas, and different inclinations, what he does, what he likes to do. So the form of Lord Jagannath is an eternal form. And we get a lot of information from Skanda Puran about it. There is one particular section known as Purushottam Kshetra, Mahatmya, glorification of Purushottam Kshetra. Plus in the Sthala Puran of Jagannath temple, they have a lot of information. But a lot of things said, there are some variations, how he appeared, small differences are here and there. So, a form of Lord Jagannath, but it's a form of Krishna. The Krishna in Dwarka, or some say Kurukshetra, but in the mood of Vrindavan, thinking about, feeling separation from his devotees in Vrindavan. He is in Dwarka, in that Aishwarya Leela, or in Kurukshetra, because Dwarka, then he came to Kurukshetra. Once for the Krishna came to observe the solar eclipse, but having seen his followers from Vrindavan, he felt separation. So that mood of that memory, what he felt, that is Jagannath's form. So as many of you know, and we spoke many times about this, that it's an eternal form. It manifested once in Dwarka, when the queens of Krishna asked Rohini about Krishna pastimes in Vrindavan, because they saw that he was very attached to Vrindavan, and even in his sleep he'll be chanting names which they cannot understand. They asked him specifically, who's this person, who's that personality? So she narrated the pastimes, but she said very clearly, if he hears, he'll go back. So someone has to be at the door to make sure that he doesn't hear. So they put Subhadra, she was there. And then Rohini began to narrate the pastimes. But as she narrated the pastimes, Subhadra felt great separation herself from Vrindavan. And she went into ecstasy hearing Krishna's Leela, especially Balya Leela, of the different pastimes of Vrindavan. So she took a form in that ecstasy, and that is the form of Subhadra in Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharaj. She took that form. So she could not do her job, which is to check she went in ecstasy. Then Balram came. Balram came, so he heard the pastime. When he heard, he immediately remembered the pastimes of Vrindavan, and he took that form, Baladev, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharaj. Hands went in, eyes went wide like this. And then Krishna came. Krishna came, he heard the pastimes, and he also took that form. So this is an eternal form, and the form, you can summarize it, is Krishna in that opulent mood of Dwarka or in Kurukshetra, but meditating on his devotees in separation. So in some ways, this is higher than Vrindavan. In Vrindavan they're there. In Jagannath Puri they're not there. So that separation is more dear. Actually, in Jagannath Puri, the Leela of Gokul, Mathura and Dwarka are all present. This we understand. All the pastimes are there. So in the narration of appearance of Lord Jagannath, they mention how he appeared in this particular form, now in this time, how he appeared, this form of Jagannath. But as we know that he's eternal, He's eternally existing, sometime manifesting, sometime unmanifesting. What makes that Jagannath so merciful to devotees? He's very merciful. So what makes it that? Prabhupada established Jagannath deity first in 26 2nd Avenue, then in San Francisco, and then all over the world, many forms of Jagannath, and also instituted the Rath Yatra. So why is it that Lord Jagannath gives so much reciprocation to his devotees? So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains that when there's a great need of service and you give the service, it's highly appreciated. Okay, for example, if someone is on the road and you tell him you want a glass of water, he may or not. Oh, okay, all right. Maybe to be polite, he'll take the water and he'll drink. But somebody who needs water, he's very thirsty, and he comes at the door knocking, I need water, I'm very thirsty, give me water. And you give water to that person, that feeling is much more. Appreciation is so much more. So similarly, the form of Jagannath is Krishna, who is feeling great separation from his devotees, because he's in Dwarka and the devotees are not there. So if someone comes before him, starts to chant Hare Krishna, or offers some prayers about Krishna, anything, it's very much Lord Jagannath, Krishna in that form, feels great he reciprocates greatly. The devotional service that you perform is giving a much greater result, because he's in that mood. Although even Krishna, if you worship, he's very much enlivened. But Jagannath, Krishna, that I am feeling separation now, and then if someone narrates the pastimes, he feels so happy. Every evening in Jagannath Puri, in the evening, they'll chant Gita Govinda prayers by Jayadev Goswami. It's intimate pastimes of Krishna in the Leela form, intimate esoteric pastimes. So again, very much appreciated, very much, I don't know what word to use, appreciated by Lord Jagannath, that pastime. So the narrations we have about Lord Jagannath, as I mentioned, in Skanda Puran, Purushottam Kand, it's narrated in Purushottam Sheta Mahatmya. So it's narrated by Jaimin Rishi in a gathering of sages in the forest. So because he was senior most, they told him to narrate, to be the speaker of how jivas in Kali Yuga will get mercy easily and be delivered. So he begins to narrate and starts the story very early on. He said that at the point of Visarga means secondary creation. Sarga is the creation by Mahavishnu. Visarga means in every universe, then Lord Brahma creates. So Lord Brahma was doing the creation, and Lord Brahma was very close to Vishnu. The person who takes that is close. And himself empowered, not on the level of suffering of us jivas, but of course he has a material body. So while creating, he began to feel great remorse, a great feeling for the jivas in this material world. Great compassion, that he started to pray to Vishnu. He said that, oh Vishnu, I have to create this material world, and I'm seeing this material world will be so much suffering. What will the jivas do? How can we help them? Because they're going to come here and they'll be suffering so much. And there's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's mentioned in 3rd canto, where they're describing the secondary creation, Visarga. So there Lord Brahma is creating, then he offers prayers to Vishnu, and he says, Shutrit Tridhatubhir ima muhur ardhyamana shitoshna vata varasher itare taracha kamagni nachuta rusha cha sudur bharena sampashyato mana urukrama sidate me. He says, O great actor, my Lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion of bile, attacked by coughing in winter, blazing summer, rain, many other disturbing elements. and overwhelmed by strong sex urges and indefatigable anger, I take pity on them and I am aggrieved for them. I have to create this world, I am putting them, but how can they get relief from this? So he offered prayers, and Brahma, being very close, because the position of Brahma is their devotees, of Vishnu close to him. So then Vishnu appeared on Garuda, and he spoke to Lord Brahma, and he told him, yes, this material world is a place of suffering, but there's a place on Bhugol. Bhugol is on our planet, Bharatvarsha, there's a place. And within Bharatvarsha, in the area of Bharat Bhumi, that area of India, he said that there's a river called Mahanadi. So, between the Mahanadi and the ocean, in that tract of land, there's a place known as Nilachal. Nilachal means blue mountain. There's a blue mountain. Now it's Kali Yuga, everything is smaller. Even that mountain is smaller. It's still there. But like earlier, even Govardhan was such a huge mountain. So he said there's a place, and people who live there are pious. Who will take birth there? Pious people. And the nearer you go there, the more pious it is. As you take a step nearer and nearer, then the people are pious. Near. So he says, those who are devoted to me, they take birth there. But those who are not devoted to me and who have not performed any pious acts, if they come there, they get great benefit. And this place is known as Purushottam Kshetra. It will never be disturbed at the time of annihilation. In Pralaya, everything is finished. This place will not be. So Lord Brahma went there. He went to Nilachal, written as Niladri, same thing. Adri, Achal means mountain. So in Skanda Purana, it's written as Niladri. Jagannath Puri, he went there. Personally, he saw the beautiful four-armed form of Nil Madhav. Blue, it's form of form. Nil Madhav is formed. Jagannath also is, actually, if you see here, Shankha, Chakra, but two arms are manifest, but he's Purushottam, Vishnu. So he was formed with Lakshmi. So Brahma came and beheld him, and he was astounded, such a beautiful form. So while he was observing this form, and this form was under a tree known as the Akshay-vat, a banyan tree. And Brahma was standing there worshipping. Then he saw a crow which was on the tree. It fell into the Rohini Tirtha. And actually, how was it that the crow had died, if I'm not mistaken? No, there are different narrations, So anyway, this crow contacted the water of Rohini Tirtha, which was right next to where Nil Madhav was, under the Akshay-vat tree, and immediately took a formed form and flew back to Vaikuntha, got liberation. Rohini Tirtha. Rohini Tirtha is still there, Akshay-vat is still there in Jagannath Puri. But we, Kali Yuga Jivas, what is our qualification? Of course, Jagannath is still there, but Rohini Tirtha has shrunk to one dot. And every now and then water comes, and some drops you can take on your head. So then he could understand this is some amazing place. And this water is sacred, and this Akshay-vat, there's also a story with this Akshay-vat, what happens. But anyway, as he's offering prayers, Yamraj comes. So Yamraj appears, and he began to pray also, because he found out about Nil Madhav and Lakshmi is there. So he's telling Lakshmi that I'm very concerned. I'm supposed to punish people in this material world. Now both of you are here, the Supreme Lord and his energy, who can I punish? How will I punish? There'll be no work for me. So he said that. So then Lakshmi answered and said that neither you, Yamraj, nor Brahma, nor anyone else can do anything to anybody here who comes, who takes shelter of us and in this place. Then actually, specifically she spoke one analogy that just like sinful seeds burn as cotton is burnt in a fire. As cotton is burnt in the fire and it's not cotton anymore, it's destroyed. So similarly, over here, the sinful reactions are destroyed. And so your duty is not anybody who's here. You cannot approach anyone who is here. So then Yamaraj was thinking that, okay, I did some offense. I came, he begged pardon, that I didn't know glories of this place and which are unknown even to Brahma. He also came, he was not aware. So please tell me about this area. How many tirthas are here? And what is the glories of this place? Then she continues to narrate the glories of Purushottam Kshetra. This was before creation. Before creation happened, Jagannath Puri was there. And there was another form, Nil Madhav. Now we'll hear what happened. So it is there, even what he'll describe, they're already there. Holy place has nothing to do with the material world. It came there because of Brahma's feeling that these jivas will suffer. So, but if they come here, they will not. And so Prabhupada took the form of Jagannath everywhere, and they're worshipping him there, and that is also Jagannath Puri. So Lakshmi Devi began to narrate about Purushottam Kshetra, but in doing so described pastimes related. So those of you who read Bhagavatam would read that in the 12th canto there's the narration of Markandeya Muni. So Markandeya, he was blessed with a long life of 7 kalpas, 7 days of Brahma. He will live, and at the end of Brahma's day there's a pralaya, destruction. He was not affected 7 times. But what happens is, it's described in Bhagavatam, the sun becomes very hot and everything burns up because of the bright sun in the universe. And after that, it rains and rains and rains, then the whole universe fills with water. Basically, everything's finished there. Okay, that is the end of the Brahma's day. Of course, at the end of Brahma's life, there's a complete, everything enters back into Mahavishnu. So anyway, then, as this pralaya happened and everything was underwater, Markandeya Muni was not affected. He was just floating around in this devastation of water. And it was very difficult for him. He was hungry, thirsty, but he'll not die. He's just floating around like that. And but as he was being tossed here and there, he saw in the distance a tree, and on that tree he saw a child. And this child was looking very beautiful. As he observed that child, the child inhaled and he entered in the child. And as he entered inside, he saw the creation again himself tossing around like that. And he saw hills, forests, lakes, Lord Brahma and all other demigods. He couldn't see any beginning or an end. That's not revealed yet. He saw the Himalaya mountains, Nar Narayan. So as he was observing this, the child exhaled. So again he came out. So he could understand this is not a normal child that we'll see anyway. And this child was tasting his toe. So then he could understand that this is some great personality. So this is Bhagavan. So then he prayed. And he said, "My dear Lord, reveal to me why this particular tract of land is not underwater, and you are here and on this vat, banyan tree." So Bhagavan answered, "This is my transcendental abode known as Purushottam Kshetra. This place is never influenced by material creation or destruction. Even when pralaya happens, that tract of land won't be destroyed. Those who live here are blessed with eternal pleasure and will never again enter mother's womb. In fact, it's mentioned in another section that when demigods see the inhabitants of Purushottam Kshetra, they see beings with 4 hands, Sarupya, looking like Vishnu. They're liberated. They'll not take birth again. So he was shocked that, okay, this place is not under water, it's not under influence of pralaya. And so Sri Bhagavan said, this is Purushottam Kshetra, it will not be destroyed. So he could understand, oh, this is some great place. So he stayed there. He absorbed himself in meditation. Actually, the place where he meditated is still there. It's north of Jagannath temple. It's called Markandeya. There's a place, Markandeya tank. On the bank of that tank river, or tank, Kund, he worshipped. So as he did meditation. So as he was in meditation, Lord Shiva, he found out about Markandeya, his glories. So he came with his wife, but Markandeya Rishi was very deep in meditation. He could not even perceive it. So then, Lord Shiva is not like us. He's a Deva, Mahadev. He entered into the heart of Markandeya. And Markandeya, where are we? We are in the heart. We'll close our eyes, everything, but the mind is there, and inside we are in the form of the soul. So he entered and saw, and Markandeya saw him directly inside. So he opened his eyes and he's shocked. He said, who are you? Great personality. I could understand you're some great personality. You came inside and saw me from in my heart. So then he found out about Lord Shiva and Uma. So he offered respectful prayers. And being pleased, Lord Shiva asked him that, ask me some benediction. And because among all givers of benediction, I am the greatest. So he said, seeing me never goes in vain. Some benefit should come. So then Markandeya, he prayed. He said, I offer my obeisance to that Supreme Personality of Godhead who has created this entire universe simply by his desire, and then enter into it as Super Soul, Vishnu. By making the modes of nature act, he seems to be the direct creator of the world, just as a dreamer seems to be acting within his dream. He is the owner, ultimate controller. He remains alone and pure without any equal. He is the supreme spiritual master of all. So then he prayed to Lord Shiva that, oh Lord, since I have received the benediction of seeing you, what other benediction can I ask? Simply by seeing you, a person fulfills all desires and can achieve anything. But I request one benediction, that I have unfailing devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his dedicated devotees. He prayed for bhakti. So Lord Shiva said, because you're devoted to Adhoksha, all your desires will be fulfilled. Until the end of the creation, you will enjoy the fame and freedom from old age and death. And so then Lord Shiva left, and when he left, Markandeya Rishi, he remained in Purushottam Kshetra and worshipped a Shivaling, which is now known as Markandeshwar, it's there in Purushottam Kshetra, and next to it is a Markandeya tank. So people go there. Actually, I went there once. You take bath in the tank, and then Markandeya Muni is still there, worshipping, because his term has not ended.
How far?
From Jagannath Puri. I would say walking maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It's little remote compared to everything else nearby. How did we go? You can enter from that Jagannath Vallabh garden, there's a road, or from that Narsingha temple, you go round. So Markandeya tank. And so he worshipped there, but also little bit if you come down towards the ocean. From Markandeya tank, there's Tota Gopinath. We know Tota Gopinath, one temple is there. So there's another Shivling also. And there, Yamaraj, he worshipped Lord Shiva there. So that is Yameshwar. So now Lakshmi Devi is narrating this because Yamaraj had asked that, tell me about this place. So she continues to narrate to Brahma that this Purushottam Kshetra is formed like the silhouette of a shankha. It's like a conch shell. It's in the shape of a conch. And the sea touching it is known as Tirtharaj. The sea coming and touching is also holy. Anyone who bathes in that sea is freed from all kinds of offenses. Later Mahaprabhu came, his associates, he bathed there. And he bathed the body of Haridas Thakur when he left. So then he said, whoever bathes here will get love of Krishna. Then she's describing this abode. She continues to describe it. And she mentioned here that she also expands. And as Lord Shiva is residing there as Kshetrapal, keeper of the Dham, she is also expanded and she is with him in 8 forms. So there's a long narration about this, so I'm not going to explain everything. One thing is that at the tip of the conch, the silhouette, the tip of this conch is Lord Narasimhadev. There's a Narasimha deity there, which came before Jagannath, the Narasimha deity. And one who visits this place becomes relieved of all sins. So then she told him that at the center of the conch is the residence of Purushottam, Jagannath. Lord Jagannath is at the center. Darshan of Nrsimhadev. What about it?
Is it possible?
Yeah, it's there. The deity is there. It's at the end of Grand Road, just next to Gundicha temple. Now we said appearance of Lord Jagannath. So, but before Lord Jagannath, it was Neel Madhav. Neel Madhav was there, who Brahma took darshan of. Okay, now Lakshmi Devi continues to narrate these pastimes. So, Neel Madhav was there, and there's a narration of King Indradumna. King Indradumna was a great devotee of the Lord in separation. He wanted to find the Lord. So he sent his ministers all over looking for the form of the Lord. And I'm making a long story very short. That's one thing. Another thing is there are many versions. You'll hear so many. I'm narrating some, as I understand, from this book and from other people. King Indradumna was, so as a great devotee, he sent all these ministers out to find the form of the Lord. And one of them was called Vidyapati. Vidyapati actually was the brother of one of his ministers. He heard from a traveler when he was going about a place where a deity, a traveling mendicant, said that I have been to many tirthas throughout the land. During my childhood, I heard of a sacred place on the northeastern shores of Bharatvarsha, India. In that place, known as Purushottam Kshetra, there's a dense forest surrounding a hill known as Nilagiri. There was a forest on the top, and then there was a hill, bluish hill. And on the top of the hill, there's a Kalpa Vriksha tree, which extends in all directions for 2 miles. That tree is still there. Anyone who spends his day under the tree becomes free from the reactions, but they won't allow you, they'll close the temple, right? You can come and visit, touch the tree. Close to the tree is Rohini Kund, whose pure waters are said to have liberated a simple crow. The bird had no special qualification except it touched that water. So the mendicant said that. Now, in another version, this traveling mendicant came to the king and told him this. Then the king sent his minister to find. But anyway, this traveling mendicant said that every night I saw demigods descending from heaven to worship the Lord. This still happens. Demigods come to visit Jagannath and take the prasad. They offered fragrant flowers and love-filled prayers. So he said that, "O king, I simply remember, I pray to you that I pray that I always remember Lord Krishna and can continue to recite his name in that form that of Nilmadhav that I saw." So King Indradumna in this version was very keen to find this land. Okay, in another version, this Vidyapati met this mendicant and went there. So anyway, when Vidyapati started coming looking for this place, again many versions are there that he heard a kirtan, others that he was walking around and he saw a hill, he came and then he began to perceive that this is a holy place. He saw the Kalpavriksha and he saw the tree, the lake, Rohini Tirtha. So while he was sitting, he thought that I'm near, and on the way he passed Bhuvaneshwar. Bhuvaneshwar is there near. When he entered the Tirtha, he met a group of Shabaras, local people who were worshipping. They were said to be forest dwellers. They used to eat pigs. Not, some city cultured people doing proper worship or knowing anything. But he met them working in the forest. And when they saw the Brahmana, they welcomed him. And he came and said that, "I've come all the way from the capital of Avanti for one purpose. I must see Nilmadhav." So he said that a traveling brahmachari revealed the secret of Purushottam Kshetra in the court of the king. So the king sent me to find it. Okay, so then when he spoke to Vishwavasu, the head of the Shabaras, and they were very secretive. They didn't want to reveal, and many different versions there, as I said. One is that they understood that Nilmadhav may live with a person who comes to worship him from outside. And so, although he came there, they didn't want to show him the deity. And so what he did is, after he stayed there a long time, tried to win their trust and married the daughter of Vishwavasu. And not considering caste, any consideration, his aim was that I have to approach Nilmadhav. So gradually he won their trust, and again he asked them that I want to visit Nilmadhav. So the story goes that he took they said, okay, they blindfolded him that he should not see the way, how to reach there. So then he took a bunch of mustard seeds and secretly he dropped it so that the mustard seeds will drop and then take root and grow, and after much later on people can just follow the mustard seed plants and come to the temple. So they came there and he saw the form of Nilmadhav and he was very shocked. What a beautiful form. And while beholding, he would understand that this is the great personality who I was looking for, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So beholding Nilmadhav to his utter satisfaction, then he returned to the village of the Shabaras, and it was becoming evening. So then Vishwavasu told them that, look, I gave you darshan of Nilmadhav. He said, because you're a guest, but this is meant to be a great, it's very confidential. And he told him that every evening demigods come, Indra, Chandra, they descend, they worship Nilmadhav, they sing songs and dance and offer delicious food. And this prasad, it says, this nirmalya can free us from the worldly attachments and wipe out our results of past activities. So then Vidyapati was awed, tears of joy filled his heart, filled his eyes. So then he said, he actually said that, why should I return to Avanti? Let me just stay here and associate and worship Nilmadhav. But then as a sense of duty, he said, okay, I'll go back and inform King Indradyumna. So then he informed Vishwavasa of his desire to return to the king. At sunrise, Vidyapati and Vishwasu bathed in the sea. Vidyapati took darshan of Leel Madhav and then left. Now what happened after that is that there was a big storm and a lot of sand, trees were uprooted. Hours later, when everything calmed down, it said sands had settled and the deity of Leel Madhav had disappeared. And Vishwavasu and his associates were very disturbed, intense feelings of separation. Unable to see Leel Madhav, they began to pray to him that we committed some sin. Why did you leave? How can we see you again? So while searching madly through the forest, offering numerous prayers, everyone suddenly heard a voice, ethereal voice, Akashavani. From this day forward, Lord Leel Madhav will not be seen in this world. The Lord will appear in another form when King Indradyumna returns. Do not fear and remain patient. So, as I said, Lakshmi Devi is narrating these pastimes. And then she also mentioned to Brahma that you will have to help when this form goes later on, because that was before the creation. Again, this form will come and you will have to help in establishing the deity. So Lord Brahma did that. He was called, and now the story begins of how Indradyumna came, King Indradyumna, when this deity left Leel Madhav, he did not know. He came, he wanted to shift the whole capital, and he did actually. He came with all his associates, even the subjects of the capital city, to shift it there. And he said, now we'll all just go and worship Krishna. That's it. So they packed everything up and came. It's a long narration. As they were nearing, they heard a voice saying that you are going, Narad Muni actually, that Narad Muni arrived, and King Indradyumna washed his feet and offered respects. Then Narad Muni said that he was glorifying the king and his devotion. Then he spoke about bhakti. Then he said that the form you're going to see is no longer there. Leel Madhav has gone. So he was devastated. But he told them just to proceed on the journey. And he said that you can see the form in a different form. You just have to follow the instructions of personally. Vishnu will communicate with you. So they carried on in the journey. They traveled and they passed Bhuvaneshwar. Bhuvaneshwar was there also. Bhuvaneshwar is a form of Lord Shiva. And there's a story here how he appeared. Okay, it's a long story. They kept going after passing Bhuvaneshwar, and many places today we see there's different kunds, mountains, hills. They described here as they entered Puri. This is to prove that this is not. It's given in Shastra, in Smriti. Skanda Purana is explaining. So as they kept coming, they passed also different forms of Lord Shiva, which were worshipped by Markandeya and Yamraj, which were installed there. And then they arrived in Jagannath, in Puri, and they were saying Leel Madhav is not there. So then he lost consciousness when he arrived in great separation. Then he said, if I cannot see Lord Hari, this kingdom means nothing to me. I don't care to live even a minute longer. So Narad Muni pacified the king. And he said, those who desire long-lasting benefits must be patient. Why should you end your life? After countless births in material world, a conditioned soul finally attains the human life. So human life is meant for understanding our relationship with the Supreme. O king, Lord Brahma instructed me to accompany you on this adventure. He explained to me that Lord Nilmadhav disappeared. Why did he disappear? Due to anxiety in the mind of Lord Yamaraj. Yamaraj came before him. Said, I'll not be able to punish people. There was some pastime. So, because of his anxiety, he disappeared. But then it's mentioned here, the Supreme Lord will soon appear again in a unique form, especially to fulfill your desire. Why did Lord Jagannath come? Because of desire, the Vidyumna, that's one. Because of Lord Brahma's desire, people are suffering, that's another. And there's a third one, we'll see. Lord Brahma himself is anxious to install the deity in a temple built by you and your subjects. The temple was built in Satyug by King Indradyumna, the immediate area. After that, around that was built later. Let us proceed. At this time, we must worship Lord Narasimhadev. So now, Lord Narasimhadev, in some accounts it's mentioned, as they came there, they saw Lord Narasimhadev and they worshipped him. But here in this account, it's mentioned here, so guided by Narad Muni, they came to a clearing. Yeah, it's here also, that they were thinking now to follow the order of Lord Brahma and establish Nilmadhav's other form who will come. But now they were walking, and Narad Muni took them and said, we have to worship Lord Narasimhadev. So they came to a clearing and saw a ferocious deity. Lord Narasimhadev was broad. He had 4 arms, teeth were sharp, hands with long knife-like nails. O Narad, I am grateful to you, King Indradyumna said, before bowing to the deity. You are a Mahabhagavad, this Narasimha deity, so ferocious that no one is worshipping him. He can only be worshipped by someone spiritually elevated like you. The form of Ugra Narasimha, people are afraid to worship, because if you make an offense, you will be destroyed materially. Lord Narasimhadev is also in Mayapur, and the Sthapati did not want to carve him. When ISKCON went, in Kanchipuram I think it was, they told, who's the person, I don't know. In Kanchipuram he was carved. They didn't want to carve. He said that, you understand what's Ugra Narasimha. In one village they installed him and they didn't worship him properly, and a huge calamity befell the village. No one is living there. Everyone left and the deity is there. You understand? Yes, we know. We want Ugra Narasimha to come because, well, I think you know the purpose why they established protection. Because actually Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he established Yogpit. That time there was all jungle there. And he was also having problem with people coming and attacking. He installed Narasimha there, and then it was, okay, can you disable that? Put it off. So, after they took the blessings of Narasimhadev, he told Narad Muni, take me to the place where Nilmadhav was. So then Narad Muni led the group to a Kalpavriksha tree, under which Lord Nilmadhav had stood. They were offering prayers and appreciating the spiritual atmosphere there. Then a voice of Goddess Saraswati came, Akashvani. O King Indradyumna, do not worry. Proceed as directed by Narad, who has been instructed by Lord Brahma. Okay, now narration follows, where what happened is Narad Muni tells the king to do Ashwamedh Yagyas, and that he should go and bathe in the sea the next day. As he bathes, a log will touch him. That log should be taken, and Vishwakarma, the architect of the demigods, will come and carve. So he followed his instruction. He went to bathe, and that sacred log touched his body. First he did 1,000 horse sacrifices as told, and as in the dream, it's true that this log came, and then Vishwakarma came to carve the form. But there was a condition that as he was carving the forms, no one should enter. If they were to enter, then he'll stop carving. So as the forms were being carved in a closed area, the king was outside, but he kept hearing the sewing, hammer, sculpture sounds. He kept listening, and after some time, these sounds stopped. These stopped, and he just waited. He got in anxiety. He kept waiting. As after some time, he still was not hearing this sound. Then he got a little bit disturbed. So after some time, then he just opened the door. He was thinking, I shouldn't open the door, but I should open because this sound stopped. What shall we do? So he opened the door, and then the king, after he ordered the opening of the doors, he beheld a form. And he beheld the form of Lord Jagannath, which was dark, color of a dark monsoon cloud about to burst. He was smiling. He had a broad chest. His eyes conquered the beauty of blossoming lotus flowers. His neck was lustrous as a mirror of sparkling sapphires. The Lord's chin, tinged with buff, conquered the beauty of the bandhuli flower and increased the beauty of his mind. Lord Balaram, white in color, defeated that of the full moon in the autumn. His tall, strong, heroic stature made him seem like Cupid himself. He had eyes like lotus petals and wore silk cloth on his body and a silk turban on his head. He wore golden earrings on his ears, and golden bangles, and with sandalwood pulp he was nicely decorated with a garland of flowers. Between the two brothers was Subhadra, daughter of Vasudeva and Devaki. Like the goddess of fortune, she supplies all opulence to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Vaikuntha planets. She is the supremely chaste because she never diverts her attention from the Supreme Person. Her benevolent smile uproots the past sinful reactions of those who see her. Now he saw them, but you know what he expected to see? The two-armed form of Vishnu or Krishna. But he saw this form, which seemed not complete. So he lamented. He was lamenting, I opened the door, they are not ready. I opened the door too soon, now what will happen? So, but then Narad Muni told him, no, this is the form of Lord Jagannath. This is how the Supreme Lord wanted to appear. This form will give benediction to the fallen souls, whoever takes shelter of them. So he prayed that my only desire is that I may constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord. And he prayed, I have vast empire, abundant wealth, I am young and strong, and my wives are pleasing, and no other king dares to invade us. Although possessing all things desired by all men, I do not care for them. By your causeless mercy, save me from this ocean of short-lived pleasures mixed with despair. Everyone present offered prayers. Then the Vedic Brahmanas used Dvadakshara mantra to worship Lord Balaram. 12 syllable. Which is that? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Maybe. I don't know. They chanted Purusha Shukta to worship Lord Jagannath, and Devi Shukta for Subhadra, and Sudarshan Shukta for Sudarshan. Sudarshan was also costly. Then the king offered gifts to everyone. It was a big celebration. Then they constructed the temple. After he awarded people all different gifts on occasion of appearance of Lord Jagannath, so he constructed a temple. As he was constructing the temple, it was a majestic masterpiece on Neelachal hill. This is the present temple, built in Satyayug. But later they added the surrounding parts. King Indradyumna gave liberally from treasure to construct a very grand temple. Even the demigods were enamored by the stunning architecture. Now, what King Indradumna saw, saw the deity, and what we see would be different according to consciousness. You know, the Supreme Lord reveals himself. Even that palace was palace. Well, it is a palace now, but we are not seeing. Even the demigods were enamored. As the construction approached completion, Narad spoke to the king. I came to help you at the request of my father, Lord Brahma. Now I must go to inform him about Lord Jagannath's appearance and the construction of the temple. King Indradumna appealed, I wish to go with you to Brahma Loka because Pitama Brahma has been merciful to me. I want to give him an invite to inaugurate the temple. Please be tolerant of my shortcomings. Allow me to accompany you. After saying this, King Indradumna fell to the ground, offered his obeisance. Narad lifted Indradumna and said, O king, your fame is known throughout the three worlds. Your devotion is exemplary. You should continue worshipping Lord Jagannath and according to proper rituals. You may now accompany me to Brahma Loka, where Lord Brahma will further advise you about these upacharas. The method of worshipping was spoken by Lord Brahma and set up by him. So he went there, and Lord Brahma, this is a very long narration. When he met Lord Brahma, even what was said here, all the text is here. So Lord Brahma told him how to worship, and he worshipped him. He set up the system like that. And actually what happened, he also did the installation ceremony, which is now the day that is Jyeshta Purnima, known as Snan Yatra. Now Krishna doesn't, we celebrate Krishna's appearance day, Janmashtami, and Lord Jagannath is Krishna, but that form appeared on that day, so separately we worship Lord Jagannath's appearance on that day, appearance day. That's Snan Yatra. So before that, before the Snan Yatra, there was actually a Rath Yatra. They held the first Rath Yatra. That was carried out. And then, as they led the deity down that path, which later on they followed, that was also instituted from the beginning. So as they narrated this, as they took him down, they worshipped him, and then actually, sorry, I mixed up. Snan Yatra comes first, actually 2 weeks before Jagannath, Rath Yatra. So they had the Snan Yatra, installed him, even that is done today. And that's not done on Purnima. And it's supposed to be a special day because Jagannath temple is facing the sea. And the sunset happens behind the temple, in the west. And the front, the sea, the moon comes, because I don't know if you understand about Tithi. According to Tithi, Purnima is when sun and moon are at 180 degrees. Amavasya is when they're together. So that means that the sun setting, moon rising, at the same time, at the back the sun comes, in the front the moonlight comes. It's a very special sign. So after that Snan Yatra, they had the Rath Yatra, and this was carried out. And then all the festivals to be observed, everything was given by Lord Brahma. So even the festivals today that we follow, it's given, but there were others added, some were added. That's also, without Jagannath's permission, that won't happen. He approved of it. Janmashtami is observed, Diwali, all in different, they have some different names there. And the calendar they follow is exactly the same calendar as our Gaudiya Vaishnava, same Vaishnava calendar. It's a Purnimanta, changing the month on the full moon. In fact, in our calendar, ISKCON, they have all these days. Gaurabda calendar. No, not Gaurabda. I'm talking about the lunar months and change of the month according to full moon. Because actually within Bengal, they have the lunar months, but some of them change according to the Amavasya. There's a different calendar. So we are following that, same as Jagannath. So appearance of Lord Jagannath, this narration is given, we just said. So I mentioned Lord Jagannath appeared. Why did he appear? What is the reason? Because of? Because Brahma's desire, he saw the jiva suffering. So Vishnu said, okay, I'll appear in this form. And then?
To satisfy
in the Dhyumna Maharaj. Third one?
To give service. To give.
No, there's a reason. For someone he appeared. Yamaraj? No, yeah, we mentioned that. No, Yamaraj just didn't want Neel Madhav there. He said, I can't punish people. But then he came back in another form. Why did he come? There's a third narration. If you went to the Jagannath temple, you'll see that all the prasad, the bhoga offered to Lord Jagannath, then who is it offered to? Bimala Devi. Why is that? There's a story narrated that Lord Shiva, it starts with Narad Muni. Narad Muni, he can freely travel. So he went to Goloka and he was observing the pastimes of Krishna. And he observed the pastime of them taking prasad. Then he went and took some of that. And he ate it. And he went mad in ecstasy. He started dancing all over the creation, spiritual creation. Then he came into the material creation and he was going mad, just chanting, dancing. Then Lord Shiva came. Or was it Shiva? Lord Shiva came and said that, oh, you're dancing and so much in ecstasy. What happened? He said, I got prasad of Vishnu, of Krishna. I got the prasad. So then he said, give me some. I don't have. I ate it. No, you must have some. No, I don't have. Then he said, no, can I see? In his hand, he saw between the nail and the finger one small little particle. He ate it. He went in ecstasy. He started dancing and chanting again all over the universe. And then Parvati saw him this way, and then she stopped him and said, I've not seen you like this before. Why? What happened? He said, I got the prasad. I got prasad of Krishna. She said, give me some. No, I don't have any. It's finished. There must be some parts. And she looked, she examined, there was nothing. So then she was lamenting. She started praying to Vishnu. She said, look at my position. I'll never see you because I have to be behind you because I'm Maya Devi. I have to bewilder people and take them away from you. And actually Maya is always Chaya. She's in the shadow. She'll never come before. Only in the form of Shiva, then Vishnu expands. So then she was lamenting. And then Vishnu appears and tells her that, why are you lamenting? Yes, you are a form of Maya Devi, but you have another form, which Yoga Maya. Praudha Maya known in Navadvip, and Jagannath Puri there'll be a name. I say, suppose it's Bimala Devi. He said, in another form, you are in my pastimes. You are in, and you are helping in the pastimes, planning them. Purnamasi, is it? Huh? In Vrindavan, it's Purnamasi. In Navadvip, it's Praudha Maya, basically Yoga Maya. And he said that, actually, you are also very dear to me. And I'm giving this benediction that I'm going to descend on this earth and I'm going to make my prasad available. And she also said one thing I forgot to mention, that your prasad is so great, why can't we take, why shouldn't it be spread everywhere? Because everyone will get the benefit. Because it was actually the Vedic rules. We are not saying like if you come Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Vedic rules are even the prasadam. And I mean, it's not that everything was so widely distributed as now in the Sankirtan movement. There was a adhikar, people had to sit and say certain mantras before taking, while taking, and so many rules and regulations are there. But he said that I'm going to come in a form where this prasad will be my highest prasad, the most, because prasad is there in different, like you'll have Varaha, but the most powerful prasad and from all my mercy will be there. This will be available to everyone. And to honor that prasad, there'll be no rules and regulations. Anyone can come and just take. And even till today, within Jagannath Puri, within Jagannath temple, some say in Puri, but we observe in the temple, there is no contamination. Like here, we don't share plates and everything. There, that does not work. and you'll be taking prasad. Someone will come, did you finish? They'll take your plate and put their prasad immediately. It's very difficult, you can't stop them also. And there's no contamination. With Jagannath prasad, everyone can sit together and honor it. And they can take the jhuta hath and they disperse, We observe it in the temple. Some observe in the whole of Jagannath Puri. I don't know about that, maybe. Some say that wherever Jagannath prasad is there, that rule is there even here. I don't know about that. But I know we, personally in ISKCON, we also observe it within the temple. So then Vishnu said, okay, my prasad, there will be no rules and regulations. Everyone can get it and they'll get liberated. And you will get it first. And so whatever bhog is offered to Lord Jagannath, first it comes to Bimala Devi. So it becomes Bimala Prasad. Have you heard of that personality? Bimala Prasad. Have you heard of Bimala Prasad? You know him? You know him? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Actually, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he went to Bimala Devi and prayed that please send someone. Well, he had a dream. In the dream, Jagannath came to him and told him, I brought you to Puri not to be, because he was also a High Court judge. I didn't bring you here to execute legal matters. You have to spread this movement. Then he said, I'm an old man, I need some help. So then when his, I think, fourth child, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, appeared, and there was a Rath Yatra, so he took the child outside, because the Rath stopped for 3 days outside his house, 2 days. And he touched the mother, his Bhaktisiddhanta's mother, brought the child, newly born, at the feet. And he was a small child, but he reached out with his small hands and touched the feet of the deity, and the garland fell on him. And that incident, and also the fact that he was born with the umbilical cord like a Brahmin thread, and he observed, he said that this is that personality maybe. So he called him Bimala Prasad, the Prasad of Lord Jagannath. Because Prasad of Lord Jagannath comes to Bimala Devi. So,
the birth name was
Bimala Prasad, and then also Vrishabhanu Daita Devi.
That is initiated.
after initiation.
Initiation, that was initiation. Bimala Prasad, that was his name?
Yeah, that was
Didn't have another name? That was Bimala Prasad. Anyway, that was his name. Okay. So, Lord Jagannath is eternal, but he appeared. 3 reasons for his appearance are given. Within ISKCON, later on we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came to Jagannath Puri and spent 18 years. Okay, but that's subject of another talk. Shri Jagannath Swami ki Jai.